120 kilometers from Panglao. Ngayon, mahal rin gasolina.
The Philippine Statistics Authority, or PSA, says that remote island's price may be an outlier, an anomaly. But official data showed food prices elsewhere in Bohol have indeed gone up.
Yung area na nasabi sa news ay I'm pretty sure extreme value yon doon sa mga sample outlets namin. Bohol province, ang kanyang inflation for July is 5.9%. June is 3.2%. So month on month, this is an increase of 2.7 percentage points. No, malaki ang increase niya sa food basket.
Bohol Island is just a petri dish of worse things to come when we talk of food prices. Food, mainly fish, bread, and sugar, pushed inflation to spiral to its highest in nearly 4 years, at 6.4% in July. The numbers are worse in provinces outside Metro Manila.
Ang threats natin talaga ay manggagaling doon sa food basket, kasi siya yung substantial yung weight, mga nasa 35% siya. Pagkatapos kung idadagdag mo yung restaurant and cafe, na ito naman yung food pa rin ito pero yung process ay yung cooked meals na. So yung pagkain talaga sa raw form o di kaya yung cooked form, medyo malaki yung kanyang weight talaga sa basket natin. Dito manggagaling yung threat sa inflation rate natin in the coming months.
That means consumers might have to change their eating habits or tighten their belts. Lois Calderon, CNN, Philippines.
The July inflation rate was no surprise for Malacanang. Press Secretary Trixie Cruz Angeles attributes it to events overseas, which she says also led to the increase in fuel prices. The palace defers to the Finance Department for comment on the matter. At a time when prices of goods and services are increasing, it would be of help if establishments are prohibited from charging more than the actual cost every time consumers use their credit cards. Amor Santos tells us about a bill filed in the Senate seeking to do just that.
Yan, ready na tayo. Let's go.
Thanks to his credit cards,
After the tour, samahan niyo akong lumabas.
Maiko enjoyed cashless transactions during his trip to Thailand. As a credit card user for 7 years, he's now swiping almost daily.
I don't bring cash anymore. Either I use my debit card or my credit card. Buying groceries, let's say it's 3,000 pesos. Might as well swipe that card, earn those points, and then pay the 3,000 pesos in cash agad. So at least you're working the credit card to your advantage.
As someone who works for a fintech company, Maiko is aware he may be paying extra for some of his purchases, but he says the benefits outweigh the additional costs.
Meron talagang fee na charge si financial institution or si acquiring bank doon sa mga merchants niya. I think it would all boil down if kung gaano mo kailangan yung bagay na yun. So if there would be safeguards and safety nets for consumers, that would be really nice.
A bill filed in the Senate seeks to prohibit stores and other establishments from charging credit card users more than the actual prices of goods and services. It also makes it unlawful for businesses to limit discounts to cash purchases only. The penalty, imprisonment of up to a year, a fine of up to 100,000 pesos, or both. The establishment's license to operate shall also be suspended for 6 months or even cancelled. For credit card user Karen, this bill, if passed into law, would be a big help for breadwinners like her. Just recently, she had to use her savings to buy furniture in cash so she can save 7,000 pesos.
Kaya ka nga nag-credit card, para maka-await ka ng installment. Siyempre, kung ibabalik naman nila sa dati yung presyo, sayang naman yung discount. Ang mahal din ng bilihin sa totoo lang. Parang wala nga din yung credit card sa totoo lang ngayon
Senator Cheese Escudero says while business is business, consumers who cannot pay in cash should not be burdened or discriminated against. According to global data, some 8.6 million credit cards are in circulation in the Philippines. The Department of Trade and Industry has been reminding consumers to always check the price tag, pay only what's indicated, and file a complaint if necessary. Amor Santos, CNN Philippines.
From consumers to motorists' concerns, the Land Transportation Office says it's seeking ways to speed up slow transactions for licenses and other services. But as it troubleshoots the cause of alleged delays, it turns out its own IT provider is to blame. Here's George Gilas to tell us what went wrong.
This is a daily scenario here at the LTO office in Quezon City. You will see long lines of people applying or renewing their driver's license or vehicle registration. New LTO Chief Chofilo Guadis is blaming IT provider Dermalog for this.
Bumabagal po ang proseso, humahaba po ang pila sa mga district offices. So we really have to address and we revisit the IT providers. Dahil nung araw po, it takes only about 2 hours to renew a driver's license. Now it's taking 5 days, 6 days.
Drivers have varying experience in transacting at LTO offices.
Mas maganda kung mapabilis pa. Kasi kaya sila nahirapan gawa ng bagong sistema nila ngayon.
Mabilis lang naman yung renewal kung wala kang ulit. Mas mabilis ng dati kasi andun na lahat sa Stratcom yung server nila. Kaya isang na lang okay na. Ngayon, medyo bago lahat yung server.
Guadis says he'll be meeting with Dermalog executives next week to ask them to improve their services. Otherwise, they will have to look for another provider who can actually do the work. CNN Philippines is still trying to reach Dermalog for a comment.
Gusto ko lang munang repasuhin yung kontrata and ask them if they can deliver. If they cannot deliver, then we have to take action to probably, if not replace them, we would look into other IT providers who can do the job for them. If the old IT provider, Stratcom, can do it, then by all means, they're welcome.
Guadis also wants to streamline the application for driver's license. He wants shorter theoretical and practical courses from driving schools and make such courses affordable as well.
We are looking into a very strict monitoring with the driving schools. Kasi po, isa po sa mga nakita kong problema sa mga driving schools, halos hindi naman po sila tumutupad doon sa 15 hours. May mag-i-enroll ng umaga, pagdating ng tanghali, meron na silang certificate, nagiging diploma mill, nagiging for sale.
Despite the proposed shorter training period, the LTO wants to be stricter regarding the conduct of written and practical examinations. This is to ensure that all those who will get their driver's license are equipped with proper knowledge on road safety. George Cahiles, CNN Philippines.
The country already logs over 3,100 highly transmissible Omicron subvariant BA.5 from June 3rd to August 5th, as health officials report 95 new cases today. Most of the new cases are from Davao Region and Soksa-Gen. 83 have recovered. BA.5 is the most commonly detected variant in the past 2 months. The health department also logging 7 BA.4 and 2 more BA.2.12.1 cases. All have recovered. Officials have also identified 3 close contacts of the country's first 2 BA.2.75 cases, another highly transmissible Omicron subvariant.
Maliban dito, hindi pa ho natin natitrace yung kanilang history of travels, yung kanila pong mga vaccination status at saka yung mga sources of infection dahil patuloy po tayo nakikipag-ugnayan dito po sa Region 6. What we can tell you, we're already declared recovered.
Overall, COVID-19 case infections are going up, with the agency recording an average of 3,710 daily cases nationwide from July 26 to August 4. Aside from Metro Manila, the Cordillera region is already at moderate risk in the number of daily cases. Calabarzon also near the moderate risk threshold. The healthcare use in the Bangsamoro region already at moderate risk, and Western Visayas and Calabarzon near moderate risk. Despite these, the DOH says the country remains at low risk category.
Nananatili namang less than 1,000 cases ang bilang ng severe at critical admissions nationally, ngunit patuloy tayo nakakakita ng mabagal na pagtaas mula early July. Sa kabuuan, nananatiling asymptomatic at mild ang mga admissions, gayunpaman nananatili pa rin tayong nasa low risk.
The DOH projects a peak in COVID-19 hospitalizations by end of September or early October because of the waning immunity of the population and slow booster uptake. When we come back, a former defense official confirming the scrapping of a chopper deal with Russia. Can the government still retrieve billions of pesos worth of initial payments? And more officials pay their last respects to late former President Fidel Valdez Ramos. Keep it here on Newsnight.
SMC, San Miguel Corporation. Bisag unsang industriya ang sudlan niini, tinguha sa SMC ang pag-uswag o paglambo sa mga Pilipino. Karon, gikan sa SMC, aniya na ang SMC Davao Cement. SMC Davao Cement, gama sa Davao para sa Mindanao. SMC Davao Cement, ato ni bay. SMC, San Miguel Corporation. Bisag unsang industriya ang sudlan niini, tinguha sa SMC ang pag-uswag o paglambo sa mga Pilipino. Karon, gikan sa SMC, aniya na ang SMC Davao Cement. SMC Davao Cement, gama sa Davao para sa Mindanao. SMC Davao Cement, ato ni bay.
Ito ang RPN, Radio Philippines Network, DXKT 1071 sa inyong mga radyo, ang Radyo Ronda sa Davao.
Welcome back to Newsnight. President Bongbong Marcos appoints a new chairperson for the Energy Regulatory Commission. Mona Lisa Dimalanda replaces Agnes Devanadera and will leave the ERC until July 2029. Dimalanda was the chairperson of the National Renewable Energy Board from 2019 to 2021. She also served as the chief legal counsel and compliance officer of Aboitiz Power Corporation. The former defense chief says it is now up to the Marcos administration to decide on the next steps after the Philippines terminated a multi-billion peso chopper deal with Russia. Delfin Lorenzana confirming Manila scrapped a 12.7 billion peso agreement to purchase 16 Mi-17 helicopters from Moscow. The country paid an initial amount of 2 billion pesos. Lorenzana says former President Rodrigo Duterte ordered the deal terminated over fears of sanctions from the United States.
It could take some time, maybe negotiations for us to get back the 2 billion pesos. We have not yet initiated anything. It's up to the new administration if they would like to talk or make arrangement with Russia. If we pursue with the purchase, then we may not be able to pay the payment because of the sanctions. All payments that we do passes through U.S. banking system, so we can easily block the payment.
The U.S. government, under a federal law, can impose sanctions on entities that have significant defense or intelligence transactions with Russia that attacked Ukraine in February. The Duterte administration leaves behind an outstanding debt of nearly 12.80 trillion pesos. The Treasury Bureau says the outstanding loan is at 12.79 trillion pesos as of end June, surpassing the 12.76 trillion record set in April. The latest figure also higher by 14.6% compared to the year before. Former President Duterte assumed the presidency with an outstanding debt of just 5.94 trillion. World updates. China announces sanctions against U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi for what it calls her provocative visit to Taiwan earlier this week. Pelosi has said she will not allow China to isolate Taiwan from the international community. Chinese warships and jets also conducted military drills near Taiwan, crossing the largely respected border between Beijing and Taipei. Taiwan called the move highly provocative and responded with radio warnings and air patrol forces. The top U.S. diplomat is coming to the Philippines as tensions escalate in the region. Secretary of State Antony Blinken is set to meet with President Marcos and Foreign Affairs Chief Enrique Manalo tomorrow to discuss the way forward for Manila-Washington ties. Tristan Adalo reports.
Fresh from his meeting with foreign ministers of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations or ASEAN in Cambodia, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken heads to the Philippines for an official visit. In an interview with CNN Philippines, Philippine Ambassador to the United States Jose Manuel Romualdez says that reaffirming Philippine-U.S. ties will be front and center of the high-level visit.
It's an opportune time for the United States to renew its relationship, not only with our new president, but also with the new government. I would say substantial in nature, and at the same time, it will be a good opportunity for President Marcos to hear what President Biden has to say.
The envoy adds Washington is also aware that President Bongbong Marcos puts prime importance to the economy.
She would like to really open up our economy to many of our allies and friends and those that would like to do business in the Philippines. He really would like to see our economy to not only to recover from the pandemic, but to even grow much better than it ever did in the past.
Joining Blinken in his visit are some trade officials who would also present their plans for the Philippines and the rest of the Indo-Pacific region.
The special trade representative of the United States, who will be able to give an overview of what the United States plans to do in the Indo-Pacific region, like the Indo-Pacific Economic Framework.
The high-level meetings will also cover possible cooperation on energy, trade and investment, reiteration of shared democratic values, and pandemic recovery. The bilateral trade between the two countries is valued at over $25 billion as of 2020. The US also donated over 33 million COVID-19 vaccines and over 1.9 billion pesos worth of assistance to the country's COVID-19 response. Now it remains to be seen if Blinken will also discuss calls to recalibrate the Mutual Defense Treaty and the Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement or EDCA with the backdrop of increasing tensions over Taiwan Strait and the South China Sea dispute. Romualdez adds that Blinken may also reiterate the invitation for Marcos to visit the U.S.
I think President Marcos, who has already accepted the United Nations, for him to speak at the United Nations, will have an opportunity probably to at least have a, to have an in-person meeting with President Biden, who will also attend the United Nations General Assembly.
Blinken will be the second foreign affairs chief to visit the Philippines and meet with President Marcos after Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi in July. Tristan Odalo, CNN Philippines.
More people, including officials, diplomats, and other familiar faces, pay their last respects to the late former President Fidel V. Ramos. Stanley Cajeta joins us live from the Heritage Park in Taguig. Stanley?
Notwithstanding the rain, many people still came to visit the wake of the late ex-President Fidel Ramos. Some of them were government officials, members of the diplomatic corps, key figures in the business community, and the civil society organizations. Notable were Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas Deputy Governor Bernadette Romulo Puyat, former senatorial candidate Samira Gutok, former Senator Ramon Magsaysay Jr., and Philippine Chamber of Commerce and Industry Chairman George Barcelon. Diplomatic corps members from the US, Ireland, Taiwan, South Korea, Czech Republic, and China also attended the wake. Former Executive Secretary Eduardo Ermita, DND Officer in Charge Jose Faustino, former National Security Advisor Hermogenes Esperon, and Senator Coco Pimentel also came. Former Health Secretary Francisco Duque also arrived. The civic group organization Fraternal Order Eagles Calabarzon Cavite Chapter also paid its respects. Ramos recognized the group in 1995 and declared June 15 to 22 as National Eagles Week under Presidential Decree 600. Later in the afternoon, two former members of the National Defense Press Corps, Pulitzer Prize winner Manuel Mogato and ABS-CBN News supervising producer Mariel Gaceta Katbagan shared their experience with President Ramos.
Alam mo, sa lahat ng presidente na kinover ko, no, mula kay Cory, hanggang kay Duterte, hanggang ngayon, kay BBM, si Ramos yung pinaka-accessible sa press. Bakit? Kasi every week, every Wednesday, meron siyang press con sa Malacanang. Kung nasa man siya, out of town o out of the country, may press con pa rin. Tapos maliban sa press con, pinagbibigyan pa niya yung mga media, organization, humihingi ng exclusive interview.
He doesn't just hear you, he listens. Nakikipaghuntahan pa rin siya sa mga chairman, taking down notes. Siya mismo, pinakinggan niya yung grassroots. And I think that's one of his strengths, that his decisions are not based on policy at the high level only, but it's also based in the grassroots.
There was a rehearsal for the departure honors and inurnment service on Tuesday. According to Philippine Army spokesperson Cerces Trinidad, around 1,200 personnel from AFP and PNP are expected to be involved in the military honor. Meanwhile, former First Lady Ming Ramos serenaded her late husband by playing their favorite song, You'll Never Know, and the SAF March. Visiting ends at 10 p.m. later, while tomorrow expected to come by are some more veterans, members of the Military Law Enforcement, West Point Society, and the Rotary Club of Manila. Pia.
Stanley Cajeta there reporting from the Heritage Park in Taguig. Join me as we witness the state funeral for former President Fidel V. Ramos. Catch the live coverage in the morning of Tuesday, August 9th, only here on CNN Philippines. Up next, pop star Lady Gaga makes her comeback on the big screen for the sequel of the box office hit Joker. And the long wait is over for K-pop fans as Girls' Generation unveils its new album. Stay tuned to CNN Philippines.
SMC, San Miguel Corporation. Bisag unsang industriya ang sudlan niini, tinguha sa SMC ang pag-uswag o paglambo sa mga Pilipino. Karon, gikan sa SMC, aniya na ang SMC Davao Cement. SMC Davao Cement. Gama sa Davao, para sa Mindanao. SMC Davao Cement. Ato ni Bay. SMC San Miguel Corporation. Bisag unsang industriya ang sudlan niini, tinguha sa SMC ang pag-uswag o paglambo sa mga Pilipino. Karon, gikan sa SMC, aniya na ang SMC Davao Cement. SMC Davao Cement. Gama sa Davao para sa Mindanao. SMC Davao Cement. Ato ni Bay.
Ito ang RBN, Radio Philippines Network. DXKT 1071 sa inyong mga radyo. Ang Radyo Ronda sa Davao.
You're watching Newsnight. Back to world headlines. A Russian court sentences WNBA star Brittany Griner to 9 years in jail for drug smuggling. The two-time Olympic gold medalist was arrested in February with less than 1 gram of cannabis oil in her luggage at a Moscow airport. Griner says it was an honest mistake from her rush to pack. The U.S. government denounced the sentence and proposed a possible prisoner swap. Here at home, the Morocco Bolts bounced back from their Game 1 loss in the PBA Philippine Cup, tying the semifinal series at 1 each. Morocco won the second match versus the San Miguel Beermen 99-88 at the Araneta Coliseum in Quezon City. Their best-of-7 series continues on Sunday at 6:30 p.m. Coach Norman Black was back there. Another semis clash is ongoing, with the Magnolia Hotshots also looking to even the series. And so far, Magnolia is ahead in the second quarter, 32-21. Tropang Giga defeated Hotshots in Game 1 on Wednesday. Moving to entertainment, it must have been hard to keep a poker face about this movie casting. Posting a musical teaser on Instagram, Lady Gaga confirming that she will star in the sequel to Joker alongside Joaquin Phoenix. No word yet on her role, but entertainment outlet Variety reported earlier this year that Gaga was in talks to play Harley Quinn in a musical sequel. In K-pop, a treat for Ones, with a much-awaited arrival of Forever One. Girls' Generation dropped its first single and album in 5 years. Forever One is now streaming, but physical copies could go on sale next Monday. Here's a look at the music video for the title track. Something new for BTS ARMYs as well. The group's collaboration with Benny Blanco and Snoop Dogg, Bad Decisions, is finally here. The music video trended both on YouTube and Twitter today. And that is it for now. Join me again on News.ph at 7 p.m. I'm P. HONTIVEROS for Newsnight, where we go above and beyond the headlines.